Hello, this is Rakesh Rao from DesignSense Software Technologies, Bangalore. And in this CAD Power video, we are going to show one of our very popular commands, which is used to import CSV and text files into CAD Power. Now, under CAD Power, in the export menu, you have this option here called import export points and lines. You can also start this from the command line by typing CP IMPEX. Now, if you open this command, there are options by which you can import as well as export from the drawing to CSV files or text files. Now, since this is quite a detailed operation, in this particular video we are going to cover only the import part. The export part will be done in a separate video. So the first thing to set is what type of objects you want to import. So it could be point features or it could be linear features. Now, before we go into those details, let us look at what are the types of data that we can import. So here is a CSV file, and if you view it, you can see that it is comma delimited, and the first line contains all the names of the different fields. This is not mandatory. Even if you don't have these fields, you can still import the points, provided you know the locations or the positions of each data. So we are going to run this command with different types of delimiters. For example, this is the same file what you saw just now with fixed columns. So fixed columns means the column positions are fixed. And this is the same file again where instead of fixed columns we have tabs. So all these are tabs in between the two fields. So let us see how we can import these files. So import is the option chosen. So I'm going to file and I'm going to select the file here. So the file that I want to import now is this one, which is a comma delimited file. So it's called CP IMPEX CSV custom. So I'm going to select that here. So once you select the file, if you want to see how the format of that file is, you can click on edit. So this opens the CSV editor and automatically shows the file in front of you. So you can see that the file has this format. There is a point name, latitude, longitude, altitude, northing, easting, elevation, local date and local time. These are the different fields. Now before you click on this, make sure that your delimiter is set correctly. So I know that the delimiter for a CSV file is a comma. So I need to put a comma here, and then when you type edit, you can see this correctly. So for example, here if you are going to put something else like a space as a delimiter, and if you go here, you can see that the format will not be correct. It will all be messed up here. Like here, everything is now jumbled up. So let us put back the comma, and then you will have it correctly. Before I proceed to do the actual import, there are a couple of things that I want to know in advance. One of them is that I want to import these items as blocks, these text data as blocks. So before that, I need to have the block, and since my file has got lot of different attributes. So attributes means all these fields here, point, name, latitude and all that. So I'm going to quickly create an attributed block. So we have done this in another video. You can look at that video to know more how you can create an attributed block. But under blocks, if you come here, there's an option called create attributed block. So I'm going to create a simple geometry for the attributed block. So maybe I'm going to create a small rectangle and then a small circle here, and then I'm going to blocks, create attributed block, enter name for the attributed block. So I'm going to give a name as say point GPS. Select entities. I'm going to select this. Pick insertion point of block. So let me choose the center point as the insertion here. Enter or show height. So I'm going to specify a small height here, 1.5 approximately. Now it's asking me to enter the attribute tags. So you'll have to enter all the attribute tags one by one. Now to make it easy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these items here which I want to use as a tag, and I'm going to paste it here. So I'm going to just put this all one below the other and then paste it into my CAD. So in that prompt these attributes will be automatically created. So this is exactly how the CP underscore attribute block command works, and you can look at it in our other video. So I just select all of this, come back here, and I'll just do a paste. Okay, so the attribute, the block has been created now. Say for example, now if I go to insert point GPS, so you can see that it is asking for all these attributes here, and it creates a block with all these attributes. So now let us import those points from the file and see how it goes. So we go back here, select the file, so CP underscore IMPEX underscore CSV custom, I think that's the one. Yes, that's the one. So once it's selected, my delimiter is comma, which is fine. Now if I just do an edit here, you can see that the first line is a description and the rest are coming okay. Ignore lines starting with a semicolon, so anything that starts with semicolon will be treated as a comment and it won't be processed. Now we go to import options, and here I'm going to say create point feature as blocks, and you need to specify the destination layer. So currently it's current layer, so which is okay. If you want, you can change it. Now whatever information is going to come from the block, you can set it as attributes. So I'm going to choose the block which I created just now, point GPS. Description attribute, so I'm going to give a point name, description I'm going to leave it as blank, and elevation I'm going to choose an option here. So these attributes what you see here are exactly those fields which are there in the CSV file, and I say OK. Now the next and the most important thing is to specify the data format. This is perhaps the most important aspect in this command, and you need to understand it correctly. So if you look at this file, this is the format. First column is the point number, then you have latitude, longitude, altitude, northing, easting, elevation, local date and local time. Now we all know that for creating the point, the required information are only these three for the geometry part. Rest everything will go as attributes. So NEZ, that is northing, easting, elevation. But if you look at this file, the northing, easting, Z is not in the first three columns. Northing, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Northing starts from the 5th column, easting is 6th column, and elevation is 7th column. So this is a custom format, which means it is not one of those standard formats like PNEZD or PNEZ. Instead, it is a custom format. So there is a way how you can specify this in CAD Power. So you need to tell CAD Power now to ignore the first 4 columns, because we don't want it to take the point name, latitude, longitude, altitude. Correction, we will take the point name from the first column, we will ignore latitude, longitude, altitude, and then from the 5th, 6th and 7th columns we will take northing, easting, elevation. So the format must be specified as P. P is the first column, which is the point number. Then latitude, longitude, altitude we don't want, so it will be written as III. So if, for example, in the data format I will go to and choose other. So once I go to other, then I will write it like this: PIIINEZ. So what it means is that first column is a point number, Then second, third and fourth column I am ignoring. Fifth, sixth and seventh columns are the northing, easting and elevation or Z. Now if you click on info, you can see the same information here where it explains exactly how it has to be constructed. So like you see here, the pattern must contain X, Y or EN coordinates compulsory and can have ignorable fields which are specified by I. I means ignore. So once this is done, now I can just make a check once again. So everything looks fine. My blocks, points are going to be created as blocks and my basic attributes have been set, and then I'm going to say OK now. So you can see it has created all those blocks and the information has come here. Say for example, now if I double click on this block, you can see that the attribute editor has opened and here the information is come. So it has not taken the latitude, longitude, altitude because we have not set those as the optional parameters. So let us just try that also. So I'm going to delete and I'm going to start the IMPEX command again. So we come here, this is fine. We go to options here. Now here there is something called as multiple descriptions options import. So you'll have to set this. So if you come here to settings, you can see these are the different names that it has picked up from the CSV file. So you need to tell where in the CSV it appears. 0 means it has to be ignored. So point name, like we all know, is 1, latitude is 2, longitude is 3, altitude is 4, then northing you can take it as 5, but it will also be populated from the during the import. So 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So this comes in the same order because we picked up all these names from the structure and then created the block. But basically what you need to keep in mind is you need to specify the positions of all these attributes here. So once that is done, now if I'm going to import it, so now you can see that it has got all the values as attributes. So this is a block, and if you double click on the block, all the attributes have come into the drawing. So this is how you can import using CAD Power a CSV file which contains multiple columns, and even if the columns are not in a standard format like PNEZ or PENZ, you can specify a custom format and import it. Now let us look at another option, another type of file here. So for example, in this one, so here we have exactly the same data, but it is organized in fixed columns. Earlier we had a comma as the delimiter for the columns. Here the fixed columns have been specified, which means the different fields start at different column numbers, and that I have written here. So you can open it in any text editor. So for example, if you open it in this text editor, you can see that the first column is at column number 1. The second column code is at 20. Third column latitude is at 28. Fourth column longitude is at 46. Now you need to specify these values if you are getting it in by column numbers. So let us see how this works. So once again I'm going to open a new drawing and go to CAD Power, export, import, export points and lines. So by the way, this command runs identically in GeoTools also. This is a common command which is available both in CAD Power and GeoTools. So the file name is already set as a default from the last run. So now we come and choose this option here, fixed column fields, and we go to column width, and over here you can see there are different column numbers which have been given. So we'll have to verify that this is the same as what is there in the file. So the way to do it is you just open this file. So 1, 20, 28, 46. So let's check that 1, 20, 28, 46, and then 64, 75, 90, 104, 115, 129, 64, 75, 90, 104, 115, 129. Now after 129, if you want to ignore all this, you can just set it as 0. So which means it will take from column 1 to column 10, and beyond that it will be ignored. Now the file name has to be changed. This is not CP IMPEX CSV custom. Instead it is CP IMPEX fixed columns dot text. So this is not a CSV file. Okay. Now the format remains the same even in this case. It is slightly, I think, one more ignorable field has to be added here, because if you look at it here, point name is 1. There is an additional field here called code. So code, latitude, longitude, altitude, these have to be ignored. So P, I, then N, E, Z. So 4 I's after P. So that's why I've written P followed by 4 I's, then N, E, Z. So we go here, blocks. The block name will be, so I don't have the blocks, so let me just create the block once again. So once again, small rectangle and then a small circle here. So CAD power blocks, create attributed block. So we'll call it as point GPS. Select entities, all these. Insertion point is center of this. Height is this much, and all the block tags, I'm just going to select all of this. Okay, so the block is now created. So if I now insert the block, so you can see that it has got all these attributes, whatever was specified. Alright, so let us now import this. So we go back here to export, import, export points and lines, fixed columns. So all of it looks fine until here, except these. I need to just reset it to 0, and you go and choose blocks. So all this is fine. So it is PII. Instead of that, there has to be one more I. So if you notice, there is a code also. So it's P and followed by 4 I's, then you have NEZ. So now you can see that all these information have come exactly like in the previous case where we did for the CSV data file. So basically what I have shown are very similar workflows, except that one uses fixed columns and another one uses CSV data. In a similar manner, there is a third type which uses tab as the delimiter. So for example, if you open this, you can see that this is the tab. So whether you use tab or CSV comma or you use fixed columns, all types of data can be easily processed for import in CAD power. So like I said before, this command is available in GeoTools also. It's one of those common commands between CAD power and GeoTools. So let's look at some other options now. So if you have data something like this, so you have lot 1 and then you have a series of coordinates, lot 2 series of coordinates, even these can be imported. The only thing which is required is that between two sets of data there must be a blank line. Then it will know that these are different linear entities or different polygons. So let's see how this can be imported. So we go back here. So by the way, this is available on the ribbon also. So if you come here to CAD power and if you choose here, you can see import, export, lines and polylines. So in this option we are going to use linear features import. Earlier we have used point features, so now we are going to use linear feature, and the file that we are going to import is this one. So you can see that it has a space delimiter. So I'm going to change this and I'm going to make this as PNEZD, and here I'm going to specify the delimiter as a space. So I just put a space here, and here I'm going to select the file now. Okay, so if I go here, you can see that number 1, then you have easting, and then you have northing. So this is how the file is structured. So it's just easting and northing, so I'll have to just change it PNE. Let me see if there is no elevation, there's only 2D data, so it's only PNE, point number, northing and easting. So once you do that, you can check out the options here also. So I don't want to change anything, I'll just leave this also multiple descriptions off and say OK and say OK. So you can see they were all linear data. So you have a linear data with 2 vertices, 3 vertices. It's all created as simple 2D polylines. So this is how you import CSV data or text data or tab delimited data using CAD Power. You import it into BricsCAD. This command is a very popular command and has been in CAD Power and GeoTools for the last 20 years, and it runs identically in AutoCAD, DWG CAD also. So you can give it a try, and no matter what CAD platform you're using, you can use this command. Now there are many other options also, so you can take your time to go through it. One of them is called the stacked inputs and all that. That's more relevant in exports, but even in imports also you can see that there are several options, like you can process the data using object data or extended data and so on, and incoming data can be created as points or blocks or points and text or only text and so on. So this is a great tool for all people who are in surveying and mapping industry, and will help them a lot to bring in data into DWG software like AutoCAD or BricsCAD easily. Thank you for watching this video, and do let me know if you have any questions.